Welcome back to another episode of the Block Runner Podcast. I'm your host, William, always here with your co-host, Iman.
What's going on, dude?
On the sticks, we got TJ.
Hello.
All right, another week. We're up 7% on Bitcoin, dude. Congrats.
Massive. Huge. That's actually pretty good. And I haven't really heard much.
Yeah, I haven't either.
You're the first one to break the news to me, actually.
Really? It's up 7%. That's
Maybe
huge.
my algorithm has changed. You know?
Yeah, it's all AI, no Bitcoin.
Yeah,
I get that.
I'm on your train now, dude. You got
Yeah.
me properly aligned to to this new ride.
So you're
right?
properly torqued.
I didn't say that. I said properly in line, dude. You know, we're headed to wherever we're headed, but in my timeline definitely reflects that because I'm seeing much less crypto chatter, much more AI everything, dude. It's pretty insane. Now I kind of understand what you used to talk about as far as like the overwhelming sense of like we're missing something or
Yeah.
I'm falling behind quickly.
Yeah.
But also in light of that, I also have been doing like some deeper investigation into a lot of these wild claims I see on my timeline, realizing somewhere between 50 and 90% of them are like total bullshit and like total LARPs.
Yep.
Totally questionable. It's like pure engagement farming, right? Just because people understand AI is like the nucleus of society conversation this day and age.
Yep.
So let me extract from that socially, right?
Yeah. So I totally agree. A lot of it is fluffery.
Yeah. It's a good word.
But once you start using it, you start to realize there is a lot of fluff, but there's a kernel of like actual value.
For sure. Yeah. Like even the claims that are wild and such, they're not like outside of some bounds of, physics or reality.
Yeah,
It's
correct.
Just, it would be better if these claims come with, like an actual provable situation that's relatable to, a much more bigger demographic.
Yeah. So just to kind of point to an example, the claim is a zero human company that generates millions of dollars.
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of that, and I've been linking a lot of these things.
Yeah.
And it's becoming a trend, and I understand why it becomes a trend because it's sexy. It's a hot narrative to think, you could just pay a couple $100 for some sort of agentic thing.
LLM, yeah.
And then just, instruct it to start me a business and cook on my behalf.
Yeah, don't make any mistakes.
And make me a millionaire, dude.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are out there saying, it's like, okay, here's the architecture blueprint of how that's actually going to happen.
Yeah.
And then it's like, buy my course, right?
Right. Yeah, and then people actually do it, and they go and implement it, and they say, make no mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
And then they realize it's not actually making them any money. And that's because...
Not by itself.
Not by itself.
Yeah.
And that's because it's missing information,
Mm-hmm.
which is like, what business do you want to create?
Right.
Like, do you have a domain expertise in something?
Yes.
Like maybe you could leverage that domain expertise, apply AI automation to it, and all of a sudden your expertise is like out there actually generating you some money.
Right.
And that's the stuff that really a lot of people aren't talking about.
Yeah, I agree. So, yeah, there's been we talked about this project Felix on one of our videos.
Yeah.
And there are others like it that are touting similar types of, results. I don't know if they're necessarily being like, what's the word? Manipulative, I guess, with their claims, or because I haven't looked deep enough to really know.
Yeah, it's just, for example, like, so this is a really good example, and this guy, he created this website that allows you to sell prompts, like kind of like a user-generated economy in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And so this guy generated $80,000 in revenue. I don't know the numbers specifically. I don't know if it's like revenue or for the volume or whatever, but you do the math and it's like $1 million to $2 million annual recurring revenue. So that's pretty sexy. Like in 30 days, you generate $1 million run rate business.
Right.
And that's really good. But this only occurred over a month, right? Next month, it could be 200,000 or it could be 10,000.
Mm-hmm.
Like you really don't know. And so these claims are very click worthy.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why we're seeing a lot of this stuff, and you're seeing a lot of this stuff too.
Yeah, and just saying things. So it's like, the CEO is OpenClaw. It's a bot named Felix. Really the CEO is the human, actually injecting the direction and the motivations and all that stuff. So it is like it's like a co-CEO type situation, right?
Yeah, yeah.
If it would be nice, so if you're trying to do any kind of endeavor to have, not go into it alone, because it is a lot of responsibility. It's a lot of pain and suffering to try and actually, build something from the ground up.
Yeah, and let's suppose like the goal here, it says it's to get to 10 million, and worthy goal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Every company wants to get to 10 million, and let's assume that this bot actually gets to 10 million. It probably won't be how it generated money in the first 30 days, right? That's how fast things move. It's like you can make 80 grand doing this one thing for 30 days, but that's probably not how you're going to make your next, $9 million.
Yeah, because maybe that first thing, basically there's no moat behind it, right? And it's so easily replicable. There's already like 20 competitors now swimming in your waters, and liquidity dissipates, I guess. It's like, oh shit, so I need to jump to the next thing, right?
So that is part of it. So that's more environmental effects. But the other part is your agent who built this thing that generated $80,000 over the last 30 days. It could be like, hey, maybe we should apply this on this sector of the economy and apply that on that sector. It'll just naturally sort of just branch out on its own without considering the environmental effects of what you did the past 30 days. So that is the value of having AI. However, just because your AI says we can apply this over here and over there doesn't mean it's going to generate money.
Right.
Right. That's why you need domain expertise, because a human can feel the problem and then address the problem. An AI agent doesn't really know problems.
Yeah, and in this case, this is actually a pretty good app idea, right? It's a marketplace for, I think, prompts, basically.
Yeah. So the first prompt I see here is Felix the entrepreneur. It says, you're an AI CEO, ship products, manage code, handle comms, remembers everything, runs your business. So this is absolutely not the prompt you're buying. There's a prompt, deeper prompt associated with this. And those prompts, they come from experience, right? You develop this prompt, it gives you relatively good output, and then you're like, hey, let's just have people buy this prompt.
But can't these prompts get leaked? It's like you just need one person to buy it, and then here's the open source prompt now.
Yeah, not only that, I mean, you could come up with your own version of prompts as well.
Yeah, but the idea behind this is like it's targeting the people who just will not, under any circumstance, go through that kind of due diligence.
Yeah.
Because it's friction, right? It's like, I just want to pay a couple $100, download this prompt, or copy it.
Yeah.
Put it into my OpenClaw bot, and then a week from now, it's generating me like 10 TikToks a day.
Yeah.
Around my business, around my YouTube channel, whatever.
Sure,
right?
Sure, yeah.
Just because I spent $200 and I copy pasted, and like I didn't have to think about it.
And that's
I just knew that it was going to happen.
There's a demographic for that. There is a real market for that. So if you do that, that is a real business that can be had.
Yeah.
And so that is completely viable. It's just that the way to really enhance your AI to make it your kind of brand is you actually need to edit that prompt, and you do prompt engineering.
It's true.
Right. So inevitably, even the person who doesn't want to mess with prompts, you're going to have to edit the prompts.
Yeah. And you're going to have to probably spend more money on other prompts in order to get like a good outcome.
Yeah, because imagine if you buy this prompt and it doesn't do what you expect it to do. Then it's like, well, should I buy another prompt? Should I just quit, or what do I do?
Yeah.
It's like, really, you need to edit the prompt. That's what you need to do. It's tuning.
I don't want to do that, dude.
It seems kind of like a slog at first, but really it's not that bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's like anything, right? You got to learn to love it, right? It's like the slog of crypto is like having to spend the time to like actually dig deep into an individual token or project or whatever to actually determine, is like, am I going to get rugged here?
Yeah.
Or are these people actually like authentic human beings trying to build something? Like,
there's
a lot of work there.
That's a good example of domain expertise.
Yeah.
Because you know what a good output is. And so what you could do is you could develop this automation with this AI, and you can analyze that output and verify as like, yeah, these are good outputs or bad outputs. And either output is actually a good scenario for you because you're like, okay, these are all bad. Let me tune the AI to actually find the good stuff and not the bad stuff.
Right.
So over a couple of days or weeks worth of time, all of a sudden your AI is giving you gems. And that's the work that needs to be done that people aren't aware that needs to be done.
Wonder what that prompt would look like, dude. It's like a conversation template. It's like,
yeah,
basically, it's like a questionnaire of like many different kinds of feedback responses from the agent. It's like, buy this, tell your agent to ask you all these questions, and then it can get to like a fine-tuning destination.
Maybe so. Maybe that is the kind of onboarding experience.
Yeah, or some sort of template for people who don't want to like actually build authentic relations with their bots.
Yeah, so
genuine
it's like
connection.
You're buying Felix, and it's like, okay, I see you bought the entrepreneur AI. Do you want me to be funny, or do you want me to be serious, or how do you want me to be?
Yeah, what's your ideal entrepreneur? Here's a list. Do you want to be like Elon?
Yeah.
You want to be like Zuck? Should I get a gold chain?
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Should I start jujitsu?
Right.
Should I get the membership going for you?
Yeah.
Stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
You got to get down to the deets, So ultimately, I think people will find out, I guess, the hard way. Even though you could buy some of these things and, I don't know, take shortcuts, nothing's going to outcompete like the authentic thing, right? Where, you're there every single day interfacing with these things.
Yeah, because
building like authentic, context.
Yeah, everyone is an individual. And so the way that you build your entrepreneur AI is not going to be the way I build mine.
Yeah.
Like yours might be focused more on like 100x opportunities in crypto. And then mine may be more focused on how to increase my productivity through AI.
Yeah.
Like that's what I like to look into,
100%. Yeah. So nonetheless, like the narrative's still sexy. So I'm anticipating way more like Web3 heading down that avenue where it's like, we want fully agentic execution, and it needs to be executed and facilitated through some Web3 rails that we all recognize and love, like X402 or whatever, right? Just because that makes us look good. If we can actually create like a systemic leaderboard of like fully agentic, or at least like from a perceivable standpoint, maximally agentic, maybe there's like... There's a sole proprietor behind the curve or the curtain.
I think there has to be, at least for now.
Yeah, but still, that's good enough. If you can get like more of these and create like systemic blueprints of how to like roll these out, that becomes like Web3's, golden poster child of the next several years, probably.
Yeah, and when it comes to implementing AI in your workflow, there's a lot of automation that can be executed.
Yeah.
You don't know it, you don't feel it, but once you start automating just one thing, it's like, oh, I can output like TikTok videos. And then it's like, well, what about, I need help writing tweets. It's like, what about that? And then I need help writing or writing a video script.
Yeah.
And then doing like a completely edited AI video. Yeah. Like maybe, all of a sudden you start thinking about things that you can completely automate, and then you wake up and there's like 10 times the output that you were doing before AI.
It's true. And then you realize like I'm still just one being, right?
That's right, yeah.
I'm just one guy out here on Earth. Everything's still the same. We're still spinning around the sun. Nothing's changed except I have like tentacles now. And I could do many things at once.
Multitask.
Yeah, which is interesting because there's like some psychological studies of like where people, I guess, assumed with AI, like work-life mentality would improve.
Yeah.
Because it's like with AI, it means like, I could just have the AI do stuff for me, and therefore I get more of my life back.
Yeah.
And that's not at all what's happening. It's
No.
like the opposite is happening. The people are becoming even more overwhelmed and exhausted and working more.
Yeah, so it's like, ideally, you create an application, and it's like you start a business. But in today's day and age with AI, it's not just one application, it's probably 4 applications.
Yeah, exactly.
Now you need 4 Twitter accounts to manage, right? You need 4 TikTok accounts to manage.
Well, why do we do this to ourselves, dude?
Well, you know why? It's not because there's some sort of like desire to have 4 businesses. I don't think that's what it is. I think it's like you're competing with others who have 4 businesses.
Yeah, I guess so.
Like that's the new baseline.
Yeah, it's like if they, yeah, basically, it's like, you know, those guys over there discovered, I don't know, CrossFit, and I'm still over here doing like prison workouts. It's like, how the hell are we ever gonna? How am I ever gonna defeat them in the flag football, whatever?
Yeah,
whatever the competitive arena ends up becoming.
Right.
I need to up my routine.
Yeah.
Right?
So now you're doing prison workouts,
Yeah.
and then you're doing triathlons.
Oh Lord.
And you're like, busting your ass just to stay ahead of everybody else because they're starting to do the same thing.
Yeah, that's it. That is what we human beings do so well, right? You gotta, if you don't meet those new set expectations, then even with AI, like if you see it as an opportunity to kind of like pull back a bit, like slow down.
Yeah, you've already lost.
Basically.
Yeah, so it's like you would have conversations with people you meet at a party, and they're like, my business this, my business that. Is like, you only have one business? It's like,
wow, loser.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's like I'm running like 6 of them.
It's like that scene out of American Psycho. He's got like 6 business cards now instead of just one.
Yeah.
It's like, this one's bone.
Yeah.
This one's, pearl. And like, that's the new American Psycho, right?
Yeah.
Before, it's like your identity was latched to like one business persona.
Right.
But now you got 6.
Yeah.
Because you have just so many tentacles, right?
And then the guy who's got the one business is like, how are you managing 6? I could barely do it in 1.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a lot of people who really take a long time to onboard to this whole AI thing.
Yeah, but that's interesting. So basically what technology has done is we've granted humanity like Elon's potential, basically. Because
Elon's output.
This was easy for Elon, like, managing 6 companies at once or whatever.
Yeah.
His brain was just wired for this.
Yep.
Without AI. But now.
So now he can have, what is that? 36 companies?
Oh, Lord. Yeah. I mean,
it's too much.
That is too much.
Is it too much?
You pull back a little bit, dude, But yeah, he's fine. But now it's like the rest of us, I guess, are like in his arena.
Yeah, barely catching up to him.
Barely catching up with AI. So that's good. It's good, I think, for humanity. But,
Yeah, so if you're listening to this, you're wondering, it's like, I want to start a business. Like, is there some sort of playbook or, something you can share? It's like, well, here we are.
Yeah.
Here's a playbook. So the idea is to do a business, but keep your team tiny, right? You don't need 50 people or 100 or 200 to like generate $1 million. Like that's what you used to need back pre-AI, but not anymore. And so this particular article talks about that. It's like, keep your team small and hire rarely and only when there's culture fit matches and like there's an actual use.
Yeah, whatever human that comes in better come in with like an aura to him or her.
Yeah.
It's like coming into the interview, you better be glowing.
Yeah.
Or floating
like
about.
Floating in.
Otherwise, it's like, I don't need you, dude. I could spin you up tomorrow.
Yeah, you came walking in. I've seen others like float in.
Yeah, that is the new criteria, I guess. And I think it makes sense. Like, I think previously, if you're trying to raise funding and such for like some initiative, the optics is like, oh, this team is pretty large and they're, very well versed and experienced, and there's variability between them and their expertise level and such. Like that's attractive. I want to put some money in that. But I think like this structure is going to become more like desirable over time. It's like the minimalist approach at a startup, but with like everybody on the team has like this deep understanding of how to leverage AI at the individual level, right?
Yeah, I remember these stories where these guys, like the All In podcast, would talk about building a business in the 90s, where if you were investing in a company, you were investing in like infrastructure, because an online business would have to buy servers and put them in their office to have an online business.
Yeah.
Right. There wasn't a AWS, right? There wasn't like a cloud infrastructure that you could just kind of plug into.
Yeah.
And so they required tens of millions of dollars because they had to acquire hardware. And then AWS, all these like cloud infrastructure came out. Now it's like startups only required a few $1 million. And so at this point with AI, it doesn't require millions of dollars to build an application, right? You just need a Claude plan for $200.
Yeah.
And a really reasonable idea that addresses a problem in the market.
Yeah.
And even then, that's not enough to really defend your business because somebody could vibe code the app that you created.
It's true. Yeah, it makes things like hyper competitive now.
Yeah.
If like the barrier to entry is lower and like the the defensibility of everything that gets created, it's like it's minimized, right? So you do have to. So yeah, it definitely like makes the game more accessible, but I think it definitely
makes it harder at the same time.
Yeah, because it's just you're really gonna have to think like on an individual spectrum, right?
Yeah, but as it gets easier with AI, there are more opportunities. Right.
Yeah, and that's supposed to be like the trade-off, right? It's like by using these automation tools, it's like now I have more time to kind of like center in on that, like discovering my wavelength of thought that becomes strengthened over time and like therefore more defensible.
Yeah, and not only that, not only just time, but because things are cheaper, the application that would be infeasible or unfeasible to get an investment for, that would require you to hire real developers who put in actual code using a keyboard, like the cost to develop that application that is super niche would be too high and unreasonable for you to actually execute. But with AI, like it costs you $200 a month for a few months to develop that niche application that you could sell for $5 a month.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it becomes reasonable to work on that application because of AI.
Correct. Yeah, man. So this is the new arena, it seems, and it's we're stepping in pretty aggressively, I think. And yeah, so a lot of the content on the channel is going to change, or not change, just get added onto what we normally produce, and it's going to be centered around like these types of discoveries, but also packaging them into like actual like usable wisdom, right?
Yeah.
For people who watch this stuff, because there's no point in like keeping this to ourselves. Like whatever it is we discover is like a new value vector.
Yeah.
From AI, it makes sense for everybody to be able to recognize and understand like how that can help them also compete in this new arena. And if you want to know what it looks like, they have a nice little nifty leaderboard for this game we're speaking of, right?
Yeah, so it's called Top Lean AI Native Companies Leaderboard. And so the top one is Telegram. I didn't know they were AI.
Yeah, it's interesting how they're labeled as or bunched in with the rest of these, because the rest of these are like obviously
Midjourney,
but also everybody's like OpenClaw is like connected to Telegram, right? So it's like pretty core component to a lot of this.
Yeah, but I don't pay for Telegram.
No, but they have like a little micro economy within, right?
They do. They sell stickers and stuff.
I mean, that's cool. I mean, Roblox is making a killing selling
digital
items. Stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't think it really matters so much like how you generate your revenue.
But they also have like how many users? Like 1 billion users or something like that?
It has to be, yeah.
So
but look how many employees they got.
Yeah, 30.
So this is what's interesting about this specific leaderboard, and I guess like the arena we're talking about here. It's lean AI, what we like to call is like maximally leveraging of agentic capabilities to grow and scale your endeavors. Right?
Yeah, I like it too because, like, for example, Surge AI, they're generating about $1 billion and they have about 100 employees. So you're looking at almost $10 million per employee. So I feel like this is a pretty good metric that if you want to hire one more person, well, you better be generating $10 more million to hire another person because you want to maintain that ratio.
That's crazy.
And I feel like that's pretty reasonable. And so if you look at this whole list, it's like what do you notice is like there's tens of people at these companies generating hundreds of millions of dollars collectively.
Yeah.
Like you don't need that many people.
I mean, some of these are like ultra small, like 5 or 6,
Yeah,
Like,
that's crazy.
That means you could run a multi-million-dollar agentic startup in your house,
Yeah, yeah.
in your dorm room, even maybe. I mean,
Yeah.
that's quite the tight squeeze if there's 5 of you guys. But I guess you've seen the Facebook movie, right?
Yeah,
It's kind of how they started.
that's
like
right.
4 or 5 bros, or
Yeah, that was in a time where things were way harder.
yeah, like 2004 or something, 2005, 2006.
Yeah, 2003, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, it started off in a dorm room, but
Yeah.
you saw the movie, how it scaled. It's like there's hundreds of people stuffed into that building.
Yeah.
In this day and age, if that same like story replayed itself,
Yeah.
and it was like an agentic startup, and they're using all these toolings that we're just talking about and describing, it would be those 4 or 5 people probably all the way till 400, 500 million.
Yeah, I want to watch that movie again, The Social Network, because it required a real developer to develop an application. The Winklevi twins, they had to find a developer to build their Facebook app.
That was their struggle.
Yeah, it was hard to find a really good developer, and then Zuckerberg, whipped it up in a couple of nights.
Yeah,
and then basically stole it from them, right?
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Per the tellings of Hollywood, I don't know.
Yeah.
They're making another one, by the way, another Facebook movie.
Are they?
Really?
That's cool.
Yeah. Let me confirm that. Now that I just hyped everybody up, it's like, let me make sure not to blue balls the world here.
Yeah. So the Winklevi is like,
Yeah.
we hold like 70,000 Bitcoin, and Zuckerberg like 0. It's like the comeback story.
Oh shit! Facebook movie number 2.
The people need more Zuckerberg content, dude.
They do.
Absolutely. The Social Reckoning is what it's called.
Ooh.
Yeah, what a title. The Social Reckoning.
Is it the
Scheduled
same,
for 2026.
Is it the same characters though, or is this like a whole new thing?
Hold on, this might not even be right.
Yeah, I don't think so, dude.
Oh no, it's Aaron Sorkin. Is he not? Was he not part of the previous film?
I don't know.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Cinema pause, dude. It's like we gotta know now. You brought it up. So it follows Francis Haugen, a young Facebook engineer. So this is not a Zuckerberg piece.
Okay.
Who enlisted the help of Jeff Horwitz, a Wall Street Journal reporter, to blow the whistle on the social network's most guarded secrets. Dum dum dum.
Like what?
I don't know.
Secrets about what?
That they're stealing all your data.
Yeah.
I thought people were okay with that.
Yeah, but it hasn't been cinematographed, dude.
Yeah, now you can see it
Yeah.
in
Now
high
you can-
definition.
Now you can feel what it's like to get your data stolen. And then you can get really mad about it because
Yeah.
you watch the movie. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
When was this happening? It's like your whole life, dude.
So it was director David Fincher.
That was the last one.
Yeah, Social Network.
This one's Aaron Sorkin, but that name is
It sounds familiar.
Familiar.
Yeah.
he's done.
Oh
big
no!
things.
Wait a minute! No! Writer's Aaron Sorkin.
So he was part of the last film. Yeah. So this is gonna be good.
Yeah,
think. It should be.
Yeah, it should be.
So yeah, my insider deets are
Yeah, they're still
still intact.
it's still intact. Yeah.
Okay. So why'd you bring up that again? The Facebook movie?
Oh, because it required your moat was the fact that you could first
Oh, that's
develop,
right. Yeah,
right?
that's true.
And then to a certain degree it required on-premise servers, right? This is 2003. I mean, it wasn't that it's still kind of early to the internet. And so just the fact that you had the capability was your moat.
Yeah, the fact that you had a dev, basically.
Yeah. but now everyone is a dev.
Yeah.
Then what? What's the moat now?
Yeah, it circles back to I don't know, your taste, your it's the culture, the brand, the reputation, the authenticity.
Your influence for the most part.
Influence is a very critical thing.
Yeah.
That helps a lot, and just like you're saying, like, does it actually solve some problem?
Well, if
But
it
even if it
does,
does, yeah.
it'll get diluted by other
Sniped.
Yeah.
So then what does that mean? It's like, if you're trying to solve a problem, you better solve it in like style. It's like, you can't just solve problems. You got to solve it like with a,
Well, here's how you
solve
do it.
it with a statement, like with some jazz to it. In
Yeah.
order to like, build a network effect around all that.
Right. And so this guy, he says he solves it. And so this article is called "The Only Thing That Survives," and there's like foundational premises that you need to address as a startup company that ultimately boil down to this: is that the more time you spend with that company, the bigger the moat you're actively building through that foundation. So say, for example, your app has something to do with collecting information about how people are using the application. That information that you collect cannot be just copied and pasted and forked away, right? Because they could take your interface and fork it away, but they don't have the insight knowledge of users using that application or addressing that problem or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And so the company that ends up building some sort of foundation that grows over time is the moat that ends up being developed through tools like AI.
Sounds very
complex.
But also sounds like we're on the right track.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, it sounds like NAT to me, right? It sounds like the network effect.
The network effect, yeah.
Yeah, luckily we got that going for us, dude.
Yeah.
So it's like our future endeavors here that we're going to be like incorporating and like publicly basically centerpiecing as like this is the demonstration of an agentic startup, using these tools, building out these system flows and these automations to bring something to market that's actually has demand and therefore real revenue, and it's like, servicing real people, possibly agents as well.
Yeah.
Actually, for sure it will do that,
Yeah.
because that's just the world we're going into. You can't like not factor in like agent users anymore.
No. If you're building an application and you don't have a CLI to your application,
you're living in like a whole other dimension at this point.
Yeah. You've lost a script.
Yeah, but again, it's like, okay, you do all those things, somebody could just copy you.
Yeah.
But they can't copy DMT.
A 7-year podcast, for example.
They can't take DMT. I mean, you can. It's actually kind of the point. It's like totally permissionless methodology to be utilized.
Yeah, it depends. It depends on what you mean by take. It's like, you can take it and fork it and like do your own language, language recognition for patterns on Bitcoin, but you siphon yourself away from the network effect, right? And so the community that we've cultivated that does like DMT, they're going to ignore you.
Yeah, I guess, and the reason why it would be prudent to be ignored, I guess, by that community is because it's not facilitating the thesis of reciprocal value return to Bitcoin, right? And that's kind of like, that is the definition of the network effect. It's like, use the substrate, produce value abroad, but always bring it back to Bitcoin, because underlying everything is solving this, Bitcoin's core elephant in the room that people just do not see for whatever reason.
Actively ignoring it, for sure.
Either ignoring it or like they literally just don't see it.
Yeah, it's one or the other, and it's either is unacceptable.
Yeah, and I guess from our point of view, it's like because we see the elephant floating around, even if Michael Saylor's up there ringing that Wall Street bell.
It's like we purchased another 100,000 Bitcoin.
Yeah, it's like we see that, and we're clapping along, but we see like this floating electric elephant around him as he's doing that. And it's like, dude, there's a problem you're not really talking about.
Yeah, the elephant in the room.
Yeah. But so I guess it's part of this is our moat-ish or our culture.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
Something that you can't just like copy and paste.
It's this is executing with style, right?
Yeah, I would say so.
Does this qualify? If not, then then literally it's like you've got to launch with like a viral TikTok dance or something. That's the only way you're gonna win the hearts and minds of humanity in the age of AI.
That's what it feels like. If you're not dancing, you're not winning.
Well, we need to take some lessons then, dude.
Well,
because this is all I got.
Yeah.
Whatever the hell this is.
Well, we can take people dancing and apply that to your AI avatar, and all of a sudden you're breaking it down on TikTok, dude.
Oh, Thank
That's
you.
probably much easier, right? Than actually learning some moves.
Yes, thank you for that. You preserved like a lot of calorie expenditure on my behalf, dude, with that strategy. You probably should have let me dance it out so I could, like, lose some weight here. That
Yeah.
would have been nice.
Imagine that is the marketing strategy for every company is like, we need to hire some dancers.
It's like, who has the best dance crew?
Yeah.
Like we got the Jabberwockies out there.
No, dude, crypto conferences become dance battles.
Like you got served.
Yeah.
Yeah, whoever wins the dance battle, dude, is like, I guess I got to use them now.
Yeah.
Are they not already dance battles?
You know what? That's a great question. They kind of are. I've
Like gesturing about, basically.
well,
Is
we've
that what you mean?
seen Vitalik do a number here,
It's true.
here and there. He did a rap too, right?
Yeah, I guess that's kind of already happening.
Yeah.
That is like the style, the jazz that they
Yeah.
bring to their thing.
Yeah, it's like hyper
culture.
nerds,
Yeah, I guess.
which is fine, right? So if you're a nerd, it's okay.
For sure. Damn, dude. So we're already living in that world.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever.
So I'm gonna put this link in the description as well to read this article. It's actually really, really good.
Yeah, there's a lot of bangers out there these days. People have some good thoughts.
Yeah.
I wonder how much of it is like,
No, I was gonna bring it up. This is AI generated.
okay, damn it.
Now
Nobody writes anything anymore.
no, they don't. Nor should they actually, because AI can. I mean, think about it. If you're a human being, you have a very unique perspective on life because nobody's you, right?
Mhm.
And so you have a specific understanding, and you have the ability to pull pieces of information that is interesting to you. So you pull that information in, the AI processes it, and develops an article about how to start a company, right? That article has value,
Mhm.
right? Whether it's AI generated or not, that article has some value. So I think that's okay. And there's a lot of value here.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and it's why we feel a responsibility to, get as many people as we can to understand how to seize that value opportunity, because that's what we did with crypto for the last 7 years.
Yeah.
And I think we had some pretty good results. So I think we can do it with AI too.
Yeah,
That's
for
kind
sure.
of the thesis here. So we're going to go for it. Maybe one day, if we're truly about it, you're going to see us on this leanAIleaderboard.com.
Yeah.
And that phone will be right there, dude. There's like 7 of us,
Yeah.
roughly.
Yeah.
If we need at least 10 million ahead
That's
to
right.
be top 10.
70 million in revenue.
70 million in revenue. We're up there, dude.
Yeah.
And it's like, we did this, guys. And now it's like, you could do it too. Just follow what we did.
Yeah.
That's kind of the whole idea here. So it's like, yeah, what's the next step?
Yeah. So Jason, at JCal from the All In podcast, he was like, find the 2 smartest people you know and start a company.
Seems like so. This is like his take on basically what we're talking about. It's like, well, what are you supposed to do?
Yeah.
This AI thing is here. It's like you need to respond somehow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Either you can run to the forest.
Yeah. Build a bunker,
Yeah, you could just
prepare for Terminator, or
find
leverage the robots.
or just find a few buddies and get to work basically,
Yeah.
and make the attempt, right? And I think that's
He says something specific here. Smartest. Not
That's
like
true. You can't
not your beer buddies. The smartest
that's
friends that you know.
yeah. So you're gonna have to spend a lot less time with your beer buddies. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I know that firsthand, dude. It's like all my beer pals are like, I haven't talked to them in a long time, dude. It's been,
Yeah.
talking to you a lot, dude.
You're welcome, dude.
Yeah. I mean, for sure. You definitely imagine what would happen if I stuck around
With the beer buddies?
Yeah,
I don't think you'd be on a podcast.
I might even be in jail, dude. Like, to be honest. Yeah. Yeah. It wasn't looking pretty there for a minute, dude. But yeah.
I mean,
We've been
ultimately,
saved.
you are the average of the 10 people you spend the most time with.
Yeah, this is
right?
like the most widely used
Yeah.
like wisdom, I think.
Yeah.
And it's just like, apply that, but in the context of like now AI is here. So it's like, if you vibe with like really smart people, it's like now you actually have something to do together.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're fully equipped with everything you need, just about.
Yeah, and the word smartest here, it is very critical because you need to have some sort of domain expertise, and then you channel that energy with AI to like address a problem where you can produce 10x the content.
Yeah.
So that people can see you, right? Producing 1x the content, nobody's going to see you these days. So yeah, that is critical. So let's continue here.
Total
Shifting
shift of
some
vibes here.
shift down sentiment.
Yeah, this one. It was
Does anybody know what I'm talking about when I'm like, talking about like the manual transmission of a car?
No, dude. You don't even. You drive a Tesla, dude. It's like you're so far removed from like mechanics.
Yeah, but I remember growing up thinking that manual cars were like the greatest thing ever.
Really?
And quickly I found out that they were not the greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
They're actually slower than automatic cars.
Why did you think they were? Just because?
Well, just because of
Fast and the Furious.
Fast and Furious.
It looks cool.
It does look cool.
You probably wanted like a NOS tank in your car too. Is it NOS or NAS?
NOS.
Nitric oxide.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, a cool movie. But yeah, I definitely never wanted to deal with any of that.
Really? You didn't want to like downshift and like rev?
Fuck
and
no,
all that?
dude. I'm comfortable just hitting the gas. And I'm going, dude. No theatrics can convince me otherwise.
That's crazy. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's fine. That's your thing.
Yeah.
But yeah. So the downshift is on.
Yeah.
Why?
So because MagicEden is dumping Bitcoin and ordinals and runes.
And just, I think,
and Ethereum too.
Basically Ethereum. So only thing left is Solana.
Yeah.
But
So that's where they came from.
that is where they came from. But if you've been following our channel, we spent 2 to 3 years basically covering the emergence of like the ordinals ecosystem, just the Bitcoin ecosystem really. And a big center point like of that was MagicEden's involvement in all of that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But an end of an era, basically. It's over.
Yeah.
And we witnessed the whole thing, man. They came in, they provided a valuable infrastructure component to getting like an actual viable market out there around these things. And they generated a lot of money. Remember those, what's that, Crypto Slam?
Yeah, Crypto Slam, yeah.
We would check in like every week on Crypto Slam and like we'd see MagicEden just smoking everybody.
Yeah, it was
volume?
It was Bitcoin NFTs smoking the entire industry.
Like by a huge margin.
Yeah.
And then MagicEden got all the glory and accolade because they pivoted when OpenSea wouldn't, right?
Yeah, that's right.
To support this thing. All gone.
Yeah.
All
gone.
that glory, all that gone.
Yeah, I don't know if it's here. I don't think it's here, or maybe it is.
What part?
The official announcement from MagicEden.
Oh shit!
They just like nonchalantly, like in a
true.
bullet point, it's like we're shutting down Bitcoin and EVMs and we're moving on to Solana. That was it. Like,
yeah, because there was like a few day lead up to this because it was like leaking about. It's like, oh, now it's becoming obvious why Udi's like building a marketplace, and all of a sudden people were just working on Ordinal's marketplaces at its like low point. Like, why? Why are they doing it? Well, they got the memo that this was coming.
Yeah.
But then, the conference. So we were all like anticipating this, like
this long, monologue.
Kind of recognizing like that everything we just talked about, like the 2-year story of like how much was done.
Yeah.
Changing the perception and value of Bitcoin. It could be more than just what people think it is, and all this stuff they could have said. And it was like, we're shutting down.
Yeah. So just to add to this. The whole fact that ordinals existed and generated a ton of fees for Bitcoin miners, clearly fees, again, is not a sustainable security thing for Bitcoin.
No.
It's never going to be sustainable, and Bitcoin requires security to always go up. If value always goes up, security has to go up. What is security? It's revenue for the miners. If mining revenue doesn't go up, security doesn't go up, number does not go up.
Yeah.
So.
But, yeah, I mean. People just are not. That's the elephant, basically.
That is the elephant. Yeah.
People think it's just as long as Michael Saylor can just keep buying.
Yeah.
Then everything's okay. But there's like deeper issues,
Yeah. So I say number go up. It's like it's not enough for the number just to go up. It needs to go up at an exponential pace.
Right.
Like that is the thing that cannot happen. It can't, because no markets have ever sustained exponential growth. It's defying the laws of physics practically.
Yeah.
Because you're looking at Bitcoin, each Bitcoin being worth like trillions of dollars for this thing to like actually work out, and it's not going to happen. So yeah, this is just a good example of how a fee revenue mechanic is not sustainable and is not enough for Bitcoin to actually, be the thing we hope it to be.
Right. So that was kind of like the, it was like a side motivator to all this. Like, why we're.
It was, yeah.
Because during the happening of all this, we were like, why this time with ordinals? Because Counterparty tried back in the day.
Yeah.
There's like 2014 iterations of
NFTs
on Bitcoin. It's like, why this time in 2022, 2023? It's like, why does it all of a sudden make sense? Timing was one.
Yeah.
Right. It was peak of the bear market, so people were looking for some new vector of, experimentation.
And it was like one of the things that happened at the time that had some longevity, right? This was like a multi-year situation.
Well, it's Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thesis seemed sound. I think it still is preserved.
Yeah.
Just because MagicEden has stepped away doesn't mean it's over,
Yeah,
right? Even though
I agree.
it feels like it. I'm sure to a lot of people, it's like, okay, this is it. This is the final exit point.
Sell
Nail
all
in the
your
coffin.
ordinals. Yeah.
But the thesis is still sound. Bitcoin is still like the most valuable chain on earth.
By a wide margin.
Yeah, every other chain has some sort of ecosystem value contained within it, right? Ethereum has its native token value, but like the collective value of all the different, iterations of utilizing that chain for some new value expansion, DeFi, NFTs, all that stuff. It's calculated and it's like somewhat in parity with one another.
Yeah.
In Bitcoin's case, it's just this tremendously valuable native tokens commodity with an absence of like some sort of internal ecosystem value.
Yeah. It's
So
just
it's
the asset. It's just like power consumption and like the token. That's it.
And because we know the design is like, it's not sustainable for, maintaining the security, it's like, we've got to discover this avenue of ecosystem value that expands the overall value of Bitcoin to, sustain it indefinitely.
Yeah, and that's what DMT is. It takes the value output, which is Bitcoin, from a large network that is designed to consume more energy over time. And it says, can you produce something of value besides Bitcoin? And the answer is yes. It's the blockchain. It's leveraging the blockchain to produce new assets. That is the value. So we're repurposing the blockchain to allow creators to, deploy new assets against it.
Specifically non-arbitrary.
Yeah.
Assets of the non-arbitrary type.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're introducing a whole new like primitive of digital creation that's rooted and anchored to this Bitcoin substrate we're talking about. And therefore, it's like you don't have to bog down Bitcoin by building on it, which is just kind of like, that's what Ordinals was, right? It's like, it was a whole 2 years of that, but it wasn't sustainable, whatever.
Yeah.
But you could leverage some sort of innate value contained within Bitcoin itself in the data layer. And then, again, enable the broader ecosystem to take leverage of that and return value to Bitcoin.
Take advantage of Ethereum smart contracts. Take advantage of Solana smart contracts.
Yeah.
But pin it against the production rate of Bitcoin's patterns.
Yeah. So this is where we kind of chimed in with our little nat.fun. We were having fun with AI. We made a little video.
Yeah, we did.
Just because it was like, dude, feels like we need to say something, right?
Yeah.
So that's what we made. It's like perfect time. Look at that little cute marshmallow guy.
Uh-oh.
We're moving in a different direction.
Damn, you saw that MagicEden
Yeah, I
logo,
did.
right? Okay, good. I'm glad you caught that. No. Poor little girl. Boom.
There it is.
Oh, she's so adorable, dude. Fortunately, she's not ours. She belongs to MagicEden.
Yeah.
But the point of that is, we're coming. We're coming. We're not, not everybody has like left the room. Right.
Yeah, speaking of leaving the room, the way MagicEden left the room, allegedly they were paying KOLs to shit on ordinals, right?
Yeah, I mean, this was confirmed, I think, from multiple KOLs. Like, they disclaimed it. Here it is. It's like,
Yeah, it says, so this guy says, ordinal NFT runes, all dead. I know it. You know it. Most importantly, businesses have realized it too. MagicEden cut their teeth on NFTs. They realize that it's dead and business now. And it says, I would have fudded the death of NFTs for free, but thankful for MagicEden was willing to sponsor my thoughts on this announcement.
weird. And there's like multiples of these, I guess. So it's like, as they were like,
That's such a weird thing to do.
yeah, it's like, America is retreating from Afghanistan on that helicopter.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like people hanging on and like falling off as they're doing that. And like, it's like, you create like a FUD campaign. It's like, we're leaving because Afghanistan food sucks or something like that.
Yeah.
We just couldn't be here any longer.
Yeah.
It's too fucking hot. The people are rude. So therefore we're out of here quickly.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like that. It's like people in Bitcoin just suck.
Yeah.
And everything was fake all along. So I guess to
It's
dampen the
just like
exit.
a weird decision. You're sitting in the round table. It's like, okay, guys, we got to close this business down. It's like, all right, we should close it down, but we should just like burn the forest as we leave.
Yeah.
Like,
Pretty much.
Why?
Thanks for the $100 million, dogs. That's basically how much revenue they probably.
It reminds me of
got
like
out of-
Avatar. I never liked the Avatar movies. I appreciate their CG and like all the effects that they have, but the way they pitched like humans, they land in the forest.
Yeah.
But the way they land is to burn the shit out of the area.
Everything.
Just burn it all.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, I don't know. It was commentary on like humanity, right? So I get it. It's just, come on.
Here you go. They did it for a reason.
Yeah.
This is what we do. We don't just.
You don't just land quietly.
Yeah, and like leave gracefully. It's
Yeah.
like, we shock and awe, dude. A few napalm sprays on our way out, dude. Just a couple villages in peril, no big deal.
Yeah. Civilian casualties
Yeah. I guess
doesn't
it's
affect
like,
us.
It's like, again, it's like if you're gonna do things, you gotta do it with style, right? It's like we're doing it with the DMT style. They're doing it with like just
Flamethrowers, yeah.
nuclear devastation. And yeah, it hurts. I've been seeing a lot of people are like actually genuinely hurt by this because again, ordinals was a big deal. It still is a big deal. Bitcoin is still a big deal. Tokenizing art or just creation in general on Bitcoin or with Bitcoin, the way you do things with DMT.
Yeah.
These are all new valuable primitives and like ways of doing things on chain. Like, shouldn't be mocked, but I get it. People do this for the engagement and stuff like that, right?
Yeah. I'm trying to find like a good business case to like shit on stuff, Like, I never thought that that's like a viable strategy, but clearly it seems to be such.
Yeah. Yeah, whatever, right? So they're gone, sayonara. Just these guys predicted it. The unwinding of the NFT marketplace era. To us, this was like obvious regardless of anything. Any legacy NFT marketplace is like their days are numbered.
Yeah.
That is just not the way to launch
No.
NFT creation anymore. For whatever reason, these guys are like very well funded organizations, and they just nobody has the grand idea to try and like create a new mold or a new methodology to launching things.
Part of it, the people who launched it originally, like the guys who started MagicEden, the guys who started OpenSea, they all left.
That's a big part, yeah. Like the founders
who started Decentraland,
Dude.
all gone.
OpenSea is Open Router. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
The founder of OpenSea is the founder of Open Router, meaning is what I meant. So
Yeah.
it's like, no shit, OpenSea's going to hell.
Yeah.
And the MagicEden guys, I think most of their founders probably left as soon as they did their TGE.
Yeah,
They bounced.
yeah. Their token started at like $5 to $10, and now it's like at 11 cents.
Oh man, so rip stakers.
All the stakers were complaining that they staked for like 4 years, and like the first tranche that unlocked was like 11 cents.
Oh no, dude. More flamethrowers, dude.
Yeah.
More napalm. It's like not only are we mocking you as we leave,
Yeah,
we're leaving you
leave it
with
with
dust.
pennies. Yeah,
Dusticles, just so you can remember the pain, dude.
it just doesn't make any sense. Like I don't know. Like
Yeah.
if you're MagicEden, you kind of want the token to go up, not down.
Allegedly. I don't know.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's just whatever. this is end of an era. Let's usher in a new era. That's what Nat.Fun is here to do. We will be coming to market very soon, and again with all this like agentic badassery around it.
That's right. Yeah.
And we're going to be basically iterating and building in public from launch moving forward.
Yeah, I think it is important to kind of talk about all the tools that we're using, because right now I have like 15 different automations happening on a daily basis. 15. I could easily do like 45.
God
easily.
Damn, dude, that's a weird flex. Okay. It's like you're touting your pull-up numbers. Yeah. Okay, 45. I got you.
Right. And so like that's like my own like personal brand in a way, plus like some of the business stuff as well. Yeah, that's just 45, dude. We could probably do way more than that.
That's what I like to hear, dude, because you know that's what we need. We need you to be. If we're like a fitness channel, you better be jacked. You know what I mean?
Right. Exactly. Right.
So it's like if we're gonna be like an AI channel,
yeah,
you better be agentically jacked. You know?
Yeah, for sure.
Whatever the fuck
you gotta
that
be.
looks like.
I'm not watching you unless you have 100 automations happening daily.
That's fair.
I agree.
Yeah, so because your rep game is getting up there, you're up there, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, we got some credibility now to have a position of conviction behind the things we say. We're not just LARPing about it. Right?
Yeah.
Because that's what I see a lot. There's a lot of LARPing out there.
Yeah.
Because people understand it's like, this is the engagement of the now. So
yeah.
Let me portray like, you know, all these AI happenings are happening and like it's creating all this value for me when it's really not.
Yeah. TJ, how much time do we got left?
We have just under 3 minutes.
3 minutes? Okay. So Sam has been in a little bit of a pickle recently. So has Anthropic.
Yeah, Dario, really. He was the big pickle.
Yeah, he was. He basically said, I don't want the United States to leverage Claude to build autonomous killing machines, first of all, and surveil all of Americans using our model, right? That's not happening.
Yeah, and at the time, and then Trump's response, obviously, like, very much rage.
Yeah, WTF.
Yeah, you know.
It's like, how do you expect me to protect you as an American if I can't have your tools?
Yeah, it's like, you know, see, liberals bad, basically.
Yeah,
that was the response. But at the time, it seemed like a little dramatic. But then the next day, it's like war breaks out.
Yeah.
So you kind of understand, like, oh, okay, there was like some actual urgency.
Yeah.
Like, so there's probably some planning around it, like utilizing Claude. And apparently it was like
they still used it.
That strike force that actually took out the leader. What's his name? Whatever.
Yeah.
The Ayatollah or whatever.
Yeah.
It was sponsored by Claude, basically. That whole attack.
Claude bomb?
Claude bomb. Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of Claude bot, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. So my take is I don't have a particular position. I do agree that we need to uphold the Constitution as individuals, right? So if you create a company that's generating billions of dollars, you probably have a like degree of burden to maintain the Constitution. That Constitution is making sure that, you know, you protect Americans. There's, you know, weapons aren't used against you, things like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think Dario has a solid case here, especially since he
sure.
knows his product is not reliable. You don't necessarily want to connect that to autonomous bombs because you can make an oopsie and cause a big issue.
Yeah. Yeah, so in other words, you know, the guy had
domain expertise.
Somewhere in his Soul MD file, there's like a morals file.
Yeah.
And so like he, in his internal, you know, framing of like, how do I respond to this situation? You know, his intelligence tapped into those morals.
Yeah.
And he ultimately decided to, you know, resist. But Sam Altman, on the other case, that file is missing, I think.
Like, I don't think it was like, it was a few hours later.
Yes. Because of the urgency, right?
I get, yeah, that makes sense now looking back at it.
Yeah, because they had to go, dude.
Yeah.
The fucking bombs are on the way.
Yeah, so just to complete my thought there is I appreciate what Dario is doing, but I also appreciate what the United States has the burden of protecting Americans. Like, you don't know what they need to actually do it. And yeah, probably it's not a good idea to be able to surveil all Americans, but maybe it's probably a good idea. I don't know. I don't know. So I defer to the U.S. military to decide
make
on
that
these
decision?
things. Yeah.
Interesting. Well, that's where Palantir kind of comes in and kind of confirms your sentiment here. It's like, well, this showcase of an event with Anthropic is pretty much like detailing how things are going to operate moving forward. It's basically
Yeah.
whatever the government wants, it will get. And
Yeah.
if it has to seize an entire industry in order to execute on its goals, it will do that.
I can see that. I can see that.
And this is like part of, I guess, how our nation is structured, and it should be part of everybody who's working in tech, part of their expectation moving forward.
Which makes things like cryptocurrency interesting. You cannot seize Bitcoin, right? You can't seize it, but you can seize Anthropic, right? And
Yeah.
OpenAI.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, so it's, again, this has always been like, this has been Web3's war, right? It's like creating some sort of counter systemic model where things are, open, permissionless, and like, resistant to centralized authority.
Right. Yeah.
So, but, AI, Web2 AI is pretty awesome.
Yeah, it is. It is.
But Tensor and Venice and all these other things have some catching up to do, I guess, before the military's at their door. And then it's like, there's nobody here.
Yeah.
It's just, I guess, in theory and practice, right? But
I mean, the military could just use Venice, right? Just plug in Opus and Venice, and all of a sudden nobody knows what they're doing.
Yeah. So really, it's just, guess what? The United States military wins. Military wins in pretty much all scenarios.
Yeah, it's kind of important that the U.S. military wins, right? I mean,
Depends where you're at in the world.
it does depend, yeah.
Depends,
but,
on your perspective on things.
If you're not on the side of the winner, you should probably go over there, right?
Yeah, well, who's to say China's not going to win, right?
True. But that's the battle that's happening, right?
What about Australia, dude? Where are they at?
Yeah, I don't know if they have the kind of military.
Damn it. That'd be freaking cool. They like come riding in on kangaroos. It's like, fuck everybody up, dude.
Yeah, so we have an interview here with Sam Altman. This was super interesting. It's 27 minutes long. I definitely recommend it. Here's the statement from Dario, and these are the 2 points: mass domestic surveillance, and then fully autonomous weapons.
Yeah,
those are the things he's saying. No.
It's a shocking letter for sure. When we read it, we're like, "Holy fuck, dude!"
Yeah,
this AI thing is getting.
It's a movie.
Yeah, we've entered some sort of, like we're at the beginnings of a sci-fi movie for sure. Like it's happening.
Yeah. Yeah. Polymarket breaking. The Pentagon formally notifies Anthropic that it's been deemed as a supply chain risk.
Yeah.
Just means the United States government can't use Anthropic.
Yeah. So that is the consequence to, again, standing 10 toes down for your moral, MD file.
Yeah.
You've been fired by the Donald, dude.
Yeah.
Just like he does on The Apprentice. It's like, you're fired.
That's right.
And Sam has been hired. And this is it. So we got another movie coming.
Yeah. I can't wait for this.
I wonder what the title of this one's going to be.
Yeah.
The Social Reckoning, and then this is like the Agentic Spankening, or I don't know.
World War III.
That's it. That's pretty lame, dude. World War III.
It's like Pearl Harbor.
It's World War III in color. In high def.
In VR.
Ooh.
I don't want to live through that. Fuck that.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna have to.
Oh man. Okay. All right. Let's end it there because now I'm sad.
Yeah. All right. That's it for us. We talked about a lot of things. All the links will be in the description. And if you have any questions on, what we're using AI for, how we're using it, we're gonna go deeper into this stuff. And post a comment down below on like which AI tools you're using, because I'm curious. All right, guys. That's it for us. Appreciate you for watching, and we'll catch you in the next podcast.
Peace.